Hi, and welcome to a June edition of LinkedIn Live with ICF. And today I have a distinct pleasure to welcome Ruth Gotian to our conversation. And if you don't know her yet, Dr. Ruth Gotian, Chief Learning Officer and Associate Professor of Education in Anesthesiology at Weill Cornell Medicine. She is a globally recognized expert in mentorship and leadership development, something that we talk about a lot. She's been quoted by Nature, Wall Street Journal, Columbia University. She was named a top 20 mentor worldwide. Thinkers 50, we're colleagues there, ranked her as a #1 emerging management thinker in 2021, and LinkedIn recognized her as a top voice in mentoring in 2023. A semi-finalist for Forbes 50 over 50, Dr. Gotian is a prolific contributor to Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and Psychology Today, where she shares insights on optimizing success, with the focus on the mindset and skill set of peak performance, including Nobel Prize winners, astronauts, Olympic and NBA champions. She also is an award-winning author of The Success Factor and the Financial Times Guide to Mentoring. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Magda.
So great to be here with you. And oh my gosh, the timing could not be better. Olympics. Yes. So the Paris Olympics are starting in just about a month.
30
right?
days, 30-day countdown as of today.
I am counting, yeah. So one may think that people performing at such a high level as Olympians and Olympic champions, for that matter, do they really need mentors and coaches?
Yes, actually, they have them more than anyone. So for anyone who's listening, why Magda kicked off with that question, I'm a social scientist who studies success and high achievement, and I particularly look at those Nobel Prize winners and astronauts, Olympians, NBA champions, and I look at what has made them so successful and how the rest of us mere mortals can improve our success based on that. And all of these people, from the astronaut to the Olympic champion, they all do the same things. And one of those things is that they all surround themselves and lean heavily on both their coaches and their mentors. So I watch the Olympics. I watch sports that I don't watch in 4 years, but I will watch every single sport. Right? Things that I have never seen, the trampoline bouncing, the synchronized swimming, the track, the field, the gymnastics, the diving, all of it. I want all of it. And if you watch any sport, you will see as soon as they're done with their match, the competition, the race, whatever it is, they run to their coach. What worked? What didn't work? What could I have done better? Immediately. Because they know that the slightest change by someone who sees things that they don't see can mean the difference between getting on the podium and staying off. And if this is what the high achievers do, why aren't we doing this? Right?
Sure.
So that's my platform, is I want everyone to start searching and being like sponges for this advice from both coaches and mentors.
I know you cannot share names, but any of your clients competing this year?
Yes, and I am rooting for them from my living room louder than anyone. I have a spreadsheet, the dates when they're all competing, and it's so exciting.
I'm sure you're going to be glued to TV at that moment.
Yes. I love that I arranged my maternity leaves around the Olympics because they always feel that way.
Do your children know that? Do they know that?
Shh, we're not telling.
Yeah, we're not telling you that. Marshall Goldsmith, I think it was Marshall, and we both are members of MG100. It was either him or maybe Alan Mulally that said that competing in sports is one of the most difficult and sometimes one may say devastating experience because there can be only one winner.
Yeah.
And yet they do it over and over and over again, and they prep for, for 4 years to qualify for the Olympics. It requires an amazing mental power, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, and it's something that they trained for years for an event that could last 9 seconds or
Mm,
2 minutes, right? But the thing is they take those skills later on, and the specialty that I have with my coaching especially is taking the elite athletes and focusing on what do they wanna do outside of competition, because
mhm.
most of them retired at a very, very young age.
Right.
And what we see is that the same level of focus and tenacity and motivation that they had in their sport, they do in other parts of their lives
Mhm,
as well. And I'll give
mhm,
you a perfect example. One of the people who I coach is he won 2 medals in the Olympics in judo, and he retired. And now he does keynotes all over. And after he retired, he was invited to be a contestant on Dancing with the Stars in his country, and he agreed. And we were talking as he was training, and it was an intense training. He said, "This is harder than training for the Olympics." But that same focus, he didn't notice that he was doing it, but I noticed it immediately. He went to the training every day. After the training, he went to the gym for his usual workout. Then he did yoga. Then he did Pilates. Then he practiced at home in front of a mirror. And then he also went to watch professional competitions of
mhm.
ballroom dancers because he wanted to also learn by observing how the best of the best do it. This is why he made it to the Olympics and got 2 medals. This is exactly why. It's that same level of focus that he took to the next step in his life. And when we work on he's now giving presentations and keynotes all over the world, that same level of focus of how he's going to do this next thing in his career. That's what we all need to figure out how to do.
Right. And isn't it true? I don't have research on it, but anecdotally, many, especially very successful sports figures, when they retire, they do not have the plan.
Yeah.
And some of them, we heard all the horrific stories of somebody spending their fortunes and not being able to find a new spot because they did not have that adrenaline of competition, but perhaps they didn't also have that rigor of training and process, right?
Well, it's more than that, and that's why they have me to help them coach them through that.
Exactly.
But really what it is you so what Magda's talking about is all the people who got their medal at the age of 16, 17, 18, and then what? And then they
Mhm.
start to circle the drain. And those were the people, their whole focus in their life was getting that Olympic gold medal. Now, I have interviewed countless Olympians and NBA champions and NFL Hall of Famers, and at the end of every interview, I always ask them, "Can you show me your medal?" Only 2 of them had it on display, which I thought was strange. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I won an Olympic medal, I'd probably wear it
Right.
to the office every day, right, around my neck,
Front and center, yeah.
right? But no, this one had it in the safe. This one had it in the nightstand drawer. Apollo Ono, the most decorated Winter Olympian, had it in a brown his 7 medals were in a brown paper bag in his sock drawer.
Aw.
Now, I thought this was bizarre. Why would it not be on display? And they said to me, "It was never about the medal." They said, "That's a chapter in my life, not the entire story."
Mm.
For them, the medal was great to get, but just getting to the Olympics and doing
Mhm.
their absolute best was their goal. Defying the expectations they had for themselves, that was the goal. And if they got medals along the way, that's the same thing. If you hear Simone Biles, who I have not yet had the chance to interview, maybe one day, maybe someone here can connect me to her. if you say to her, I don't, she said in multiple interviews, I don't go into a competition with the plan on winning. It happens a lot,
A lot for her,
right?
yeah.
But the goal is to outdo myself each and every time. That's the mentality. Those are the people who have who succeed after their competition. And they also find something that they love to do with the same focus and same tenacity as they did their training. So for example, we're talking about athletes in Olympics. Scott Hamilton, he won the gold medal in
I
figure
love it.
skating, right? In American in 1984. He was the first to do the backflip on the ice, and then he did stars on ice and all that. And when he retired from competition, yes, he did the newscasting and all of that. But what was his true passion that he poured his heart and soul into? Scott Hamilton is a 3-time cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And he poured his heart and soul into an organization he founded called Scott Cares, which is about the research, education, and treatment for people with cancer. And I have had the opportunity to talk to him about that, and his face lights up so much. That was how he felt about ice skating at the time. That's how he feels about this, about his organization right now. So helping people find what it is that lights them up, that they're able to pour themselves into. That's what it's all about.
So we have a lot to learn from them, and obviously coaches. That's what we do, right?
Yes.
But if we were to squeeze their enthusiasm, their discipline, their rigor, their tenacity, um, uh, what would be a lesson to every single one of us?
Yep.
What do we need to pay attention to?
So yes, you need that motivation that comes from within, that intrinsic motivation. So remember, it's not about the medal. It's about
Right.
something that comes from within. I like the competition. I like the challenge. I like whatever it is. And then, of course, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're binging Netflix all day, you're not going to succeed, right? So you need to have the work ethic and tenacity and resilience and grit and all that. But then it's also the way you're approaching challenges. Now, we keep talking about athletes, so I'll bring it up again. The Olympics were supposed to be in 2020. And for the first time in history, they were postponed because of the COVID pandemic. I don't know of a single athlete who dropped out just because of the pandemic and the fact that they would have to delay and continue training at that intensity for a year. They couldn't go to their gym. They couldn't meet with their trainers. They couldn't meet with their nutritionists. They couldn't meet with their sports psychologists. But they found a way. We will Zoom. You will, look at my training. I'll do what I can at home. We'll meet at the park. We'll do what we need to do in order to keep things up. And they never said, oh, the Olympics, COVID just changed the plans. That's it. I'm out. They looked at how can I be in the driver's seat in this situation? What can I control? What are the variables that I can control? That's what I'm focused on. Forget everything else. That's just background noise. And they double down on that. And that's why they did so well. When the
Wow.
Olympics were postponed a year, they did it and so many records were broken. They made
That's
it
true.
work.
That's very true. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
So I know we're probably you have such an amazing group of clients you're working with, but the Olympics are on our minds, I guess. The athletes, they work with so many different coaches.
Yeah.
Where does coaching in our understanding of coaching fit with them having the, as you mentioned, nutritionist, longevity training, training,
Yeah.
all this stuff. Where does, and psychologists
Yeah.
do work with athletes a lot. Where does our coaching fit?
I think our coaching is a pivotal part of that team. And especially with the athletes, they're so used to asking for help. They're so used to getting for help that they crave it. They crave that feedback. They crave that exploration. And that's why it works so well. And for me, especially when it's thinking about what they're going to do outside of competition, it just becomes perfect because you can't start thinking about that, excuse me, when you retire. You have to start thinking about that well before.
I
So
know.
it becomes just a perfect blend into their team of people who they work with, and they crave it. So it's great.
Huh. Huh. That's great. And well, of course, we mentioned your book, The Success Factor. It's available on Amazon and several other platforms. But you are also, as I mentioned in your introduction, you are quite a voice and quite an authority in the field of mentoring or
Yes.
mentorship. So this is a question being asked a million times, and I'm sure I'm gonna be asked a million other times, and you probably are as well. Is how do we compare mentoring to coaching? Is it the same? Many people still believe it's the same. If it's different, how it's different, and is one better than the other?
I think they're different. I don't think one is better than the other. I actually think you need both.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they handle different things, and I'll get to what they are in a minute. But what I want everyone to understand is the labels are not important. We have enough labels in our lives. What's important is you have people on your side, on your team who help you in these different ways. So a mentor is there long term. It's strategic. They're thinking about things beyond the horizon that you can see because they can see 3 horizons away. They have knowledge and experience that they're there to share with you that's going to help you. They have been through it in different ways. They can empathize with what you're going through. Now, a coach is more nuanced. First of all, they do not need to be in your industry. I am not an Olympian, right? I am not an athlete. I was in high school. I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know what it's like to make it to the Olympics. I was never there. But there's enough that you have. It's more nuanced. They help you explore things, and it's usually time bound. So it's to work on
Mm,
specific things for specific periods
mhm.
of time.
Right,
Now, at least in the United States, mentors do not get paid. It's volunteer, and coaches get paid.
right.
So I recommend, and I say that because in your mentors also get paid, which is what I learned when my co-author Andy Lapata is from the UK, and that was the first aha moment. I had no idea before. But I think you need both. I think you should not focus on the labels, just know how they help you in different ways. And my co-author Andy, he said, mentors know and coaches explore.
Ah,
And that helps so much to differentiate between the two. Now I see that the website, the banner is on the bottom for mentoring-guide.com because it really talks about the benefits of mentorship, that
mhm.
76% of people understand the benefits that, yes, you get paid more, you get promoted more often, you have less burnout, you're happier in your job, you're happy in your career. Oh, by the way, your mentor does better also. And it's great for the organization because you show loyalty, and retention rates are such an issue. This is the best
Yeah.
retention policy out there. So that website has a ton of resources, places where you can buy the book all over the world. And for those who want to take an assessment to see how strong their mentoring relationship is, you can also do that and get a report of how to make it better.
Oh, that's great. This notion of having a team around
Yes.
you, no matter again, I love your comment about not paying attention to labels because they
Yes.
don't matter. I can call myself something and it doesn't need to be true, right? But having that team, having that support, and knowing how to use it. So this is maybe what I would like to explore with you a little bit is many, well, you also work with the NASA engineers. That's a different breed of people altogether. I've had a pleasure of working with some of them before, and it's like, whoo, it's an experience.
It's different.
Right, but back to Olympians or athletes, many of them are really, really young, when they start, getting their first successes, how do they know where to look for that team to support them in the best possible way?
Yeah, and this is what I really want everyone to understand. Look, the matching programs are great. 98% of Fortune 500 companies have them. The
Mm,
problem is the matches are often random, right?
mm,
They'll say, "Oh, you're both from Kentucky, therefore you should be mentor-mentees," but surprise, surprise, not everyone from Kentucky is the same. It is great for a launching pad,
mhm,
that you have someone, especially for groups that are often under-mentored or not comfortable asking for
mm.
help or guidance, and these are usually women and underrepresented groups in certain
Right.
cultures, et cetera, or very junior people. I encourage those who are organizing those mentoring programs to have an exit ramp. I think that's so critical in case that mentoring relationship doesn't work. Now,
Mhm.
with all of that said, most mentoring relationships actually are not formal, they're organic. 61% are organic. It's who you gel with, right? When you find friends, you don't walk up to someone and say, "Magda, will you be my friend?" Right? It's just who you connect with, and it's
Mhm.
organic. Nobody assigns you to be my friend, right? That would be weird. So
Right.
this is we just find people that we connect with, that we can learn from, that inspire us. And if you put yourself with people like that, that you can learn from and be inspired by, you will find those mentors. They're all around you. And there are people who are very junior who do it. Look, my son,
Mhm.
when he was younger, he was a magician. He found a college student who was a magician to be his mentor. It was so ingrained in him to ask for help and how to do this, that as he got older, asking for guidance no longer became a sign of weakness. It
Yeah.
now became a sign of strength because you
Isn't
say, "I
that
don't know what I don't know."
Yeah, isn't that a very powerful message to everybody? It is not asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's the
That's
sign of
right.
strength. I
That's
can
right.
admit that I don't know and I need help. That's
That's
awesome.
right.
That's absolutely awesome. So, okay, let's just jump to the moon, to NASA, because these guys are typically pretty confident. And I can see mentorship being in demand, and I know for a fact that there is a great coaching program within NASA. Um, what are they looking for in their coaching relationships?
Every single one is different and they're looking for different things. And very often it's also, how do I leverage these experiences and what do I do afterward? Because remember, they're also retiring
Absolutely.
early, right? And now what do I do? Now what am I going to do with my time, with my experiences, etc.? Is everyone writing an autobiography? Is everyone all of a sudden going to teach engineering or whatever? What are the other things that can be done? And that's really the pivot, and thinking about that is what is so critical. And they're
Mhm.
used to having teams. Look, you don't go to space without having a team of people who's helped you along the way and help you while you're in orbit.
While you're there, exactly, and
Yeah,
help you go there and help you get back. That's
that's
super,
right.
and
That's
that's,
right.
I guess, is a very, very another strong message being, you have to trust your team, right? They can help
Yes.
you, but you have to trust your team because, well, in that particular circumstance, your life literally is in their hands.
And remember, you don't pick the people who are on your team.
Right?
Right? If
Right.
you're an astronaut, if you're an athlete, if you're in the military, you
Mm,
don't pick your teammates. They are assigned to you. But there is a level of trust that's there, and it's the baseline. It's, "I trust you until you give me a reason not to."
not to. Mm,
And when we start with that as, "I like you until you give me a reason not to, and I trust you until you give me a reason not to," that changes the whole dynamic because
yeah.
nobody wants to disappoint anyone. And you
Right.
quickly start to work together as a group. One of the things the astronauts do, and I got to interview Dr. Peggy Whitson, the former chief astronaut of NASA, is they actually do this training, which was it's actually based on the military. And they change who is the leader and who is the follower
Uh-huh.
during this 1 or 2 week training that they have, right? They go on hikes, they're not given a lot of information, all these things. And that is so critical because this way anyone can be the leader at any time.
And that's
And that's
another difficulty, right?
right. And that's something that we call situational leadership.
Leadership.
Situational leadership is also whoever has expertise in that particular thing is the one who leads for that. And it could be somebody who's significantly more junior,
Yeah,
who has
exactly.
fewer degrees, but if they have the expertise in that area, let them lead. Don't try to be a leader in something you don't have
You don't
knowledge or
know.
expertise in. You will be a better leader if you actually pave the way and give the spotlight to somebody else. And trust me, I've worked with enough astronauts who have assured me that there is enough light for all of us to shine. So definitely spread that around.
Yeah, very, very interesting observation again, and kind of oddly, I just remember the conversation I had with one of the very high-ranking government official in Saudi Arabia, of all places, because some people, it raises brows when you hear what is the age of some of them ministers or secretaries in the US. And his response was, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
That's right.
I really liked it because it doesn't, you don't, and we also know it from research that now younger people are not planning on waiting 30 years until they're going to be promoted to the level
That's
that they
right.
would like to, because they are performing already at the high level. So I think, the pandemic, of course, changed so much around us. And at the same time, it's not just the pandemic, it's the new generation coming to force, and they are not shy to express their opinions, which
That's
I think
right.
is absolutely lovely, and hopefully getting your message of asking for help when they need that help.
That's right. And notice that it's a sign of strength,
Yes, and not the
right?
weakness.
It's how
Yeah.
you frame it, right? So you
Mm.
say, Magda, I am working on this. I have figured this part out. I'm stuck on this one area. I know you have expertise in this. Could I grab you for 20 minutes? Help me think through what I'm doing wrong. See, now I told you how long it's going to take, what I want to talk about, why I specifically asked you to talk about it.
Mhm.
And you've seen that I've already done the work. I'm not asking you to solve all my problems. I'm asking you this one specific problem that I already tried on my own to figure out. I came up empty-handed. I hit a wall. I am now looking for someone to help me see where my blinders are. That is a very different conversation than, "Can you help me figure this out?"
Yeah, being able to frame it that way. So that's the clarity, right? That's the clarity
Yes.
of an issue. And again, a coach certainly or a mentor can help with that clarity. Well, as always, we just came to the end of our time. It's just amazing how it goes. So thank you so much, Ruth, for joining us today. And our listeners, our participants, you have a lot of material that you can go through via these links that were posted in a banner. So Dr. Ruth Gotian, thank you so very much for our conversation today.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.